Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a video for my segment of I Did This So You Didn't Have To. And today I'm talking about the video game A Plague Tale: Innocence. I played on my PS4. It was a game, just to give you a little bit of information, I'm reading off my computer. It is a game that was developed and released in 2019. It's like an indie horror game, so it's like not a big studio, but it does says it's an action-adventure stealth game developed by Asbo Studio, if I'm saying that right. Published by Focus Home Interactive. It was released on Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One in May 2019. And to give you a brief description of what it's about, I'm just going to read what the website tells me, so like the game developers summary, because that way it's not huge spoilers, but there is going to be spoilers in this. So they describe this as set in the 14th century in France, which I thought that was cool, and it's during the 100-Year War, and it focuses on the plight of Amicia de Rune and her little brother Hugo as they flee from soldiers of the French Inquisition and from hordes of rats that are spreading the Black Plague. So I thought playing this game right now would be a little ironic and kind of fitting at the same time. I watched someone play this on YouTube when it first came out. I didn't get very far into it. I got like halfway through the game with watching someone, and then I ended up losing interest, so I stopped watching it. And so I purchased it a couple weeks ago, and I will say that some of the things I might be complaining about could be possibly because it was a used game. So I bought it off Mercari, and that's kind of like Amazon, but not really an eBay version of it. And so I was able to get it used, so some issues might be because of that. It wasn't brand new. However, I like the idea of the game. I did like it. There's a lot of puzzle solving, so you had to use your brain. There was a few times I did have to cheat on YouTube because one of my main complaints was it wasn't obvious sometimes, which that's okay. There's like that's not a challenge if it's not always obvious. If it's always obvious. But there was times when it's like, really? How was I supposed to see that? And there's like if you get near the rats, because the rats spread the plague, and they eat you alive. They're like carnivorous rats. It's weird. But one time they won't get you where you're standing, and the next minute they're after you and they kill you. So it was a little inconsistent. There wasn't like actual rules to things sometimes, and it was frustrating. It is a story about a girl who, she doesn't even really know her brother. They basically have been separated since the brother was born because he's sick with a disease in his blood that basically ends up allowing him to control the rats in the end of the game. So he's like this, has like a superpower, I guess, with this blood in his body. I don't quite understand. But anyway, the French Inquisition is after them, murders their family, except the mom, and the mom is taken captive, but we don't know that till halfway through. But they're trying to get away from the French Inquisition, and they're also trying to find a cure for the brother because he is slowly being taken over by this Magnula, I think they call it. And they don't know what's going to happen, but they think he's going to die. So you play Amicia most of the game, and she is only able to use items that are equipped with a sling. Like, maybe once in a while she'll throw a pot to make a distraction, and that's a lot of the game, especially the beginning, is you're distracting soldiers so you can get away. So it was a very stealthy game, and I did like that. I did like that you had to maneuver around quietly, and it would tell you if they heard you, and then they would lose interest, which the AI was a little wonky with that, because they would, I don't know, it was just like they would walk towards you, and then they'd walk away, but then all of a sudden they see you again, even though they're facing the wrong direction. So that was a little annoying sometimes. I could not stand the brother for the longest time. Like, I didn't mind him, because towards the end of the game you do start to play him, so it wasn't horrible, but he's just so whiny. So whiny. It was basically, it reminded me of Ashley on Resident Evil 4. help me, Leon! That's what it basically reminded me of. And I hate Ashley on Resident Evil 4. So, it's just, I was annoyed sometimes. Close combat is impossible. You cannot do it. These soldiers have, like, axes and spears and arrows, and if Amicia gets close to them at all, she's automatically dead. Like, there's no point in fighting it. You're dead. She does move very agilely, so that's nice, but she's not really good in hand-to-hand combat. So you have to think ahead, and I was doing pretty well through the game. Towards the end, I struggled. So there's this one scene where you're trying to get to this church, and there's a gate, and one of the characters pushing a wagon, and you're supposed to stay on the opposite side of the wagon so they don't hit you with the arrows. And I like the idea of it, and it was really intense because the character's basically sacrificing himself for you as Amicia and her brother to get to the gate. And I liked that part. It was intense, but after you get killed 20 times, over 20 times, guys, I'm not that great of a gamer. And it was very obvious because I played this scene over and over. I'm telling you, I think I spent at least 45 minutes to an hour trying to beat this level. And it was just because Amicia cannot do anything without her sling. She can't do close combat. So, like, she has to at least have, like, 3 or 4 rotations of her sling to throw a rock at somebody. And you feel like David and Goliath in a situation like that, but you don't want Goliath too close to you because he'll crush you. That's what kept happening to me. I kept getting killed. And I was so mad. But I knew that there was 17 chapters in the game, and I was on chapter, like, 16. So I knew I wanted to beat it. So I was so annoyed that it took me, like, 2 days to do it. And it wouldn't let me fast forward through this conversation that they were having, so I was annoyed with that. So it was just me being dumb, basically, but it was like I couldn't get the timing that I needed, and it wasn't giving me the supplies that I needed to be able to beat the bad guys that were coming towards me. So I finally did it. Like, I don't even know how I did it, but I finally did it. And, like, behind the wagon situation, too, like, you're behind the wagon, but sometimes the arrow still hits you, even though you're not out in plain sight to get hit by an arrow. That was frustrating. The final boss game, I liked it. It took me forever, once again. It didn't take me as long as the cart, though. It just took me a while to figure out the pattern. And I ended up, I did at the end go on YouTube again to confirm that I was on the right track, because I just kept dying and I didn't know what to do. But I liked it. It's a good game. It's, a lot of people say that this is the game that got them into playing The Last of Us, which was made long before this. It was made in 2013, I believe. And so a lot of people said that they found this game first, and then they went to Last of Us, because they enjoyed this game. They thought they'd like that. I'm obviously the opposite. I played The Last of Us when it came out, and Part 2 when it came out, and then I'm playing this. And I definitely like Last of Us better. There's a lot of people like this is near and dear to the hearts. For me, I think this is like a one play and done kind of game. I might play it on a couple of years from now, but I really don't want to do it. Now that I know, like, the answers to most of the items and how to get through stealthily, now that I understand those, I'm thinking that I'll be better at it, but it's just, sometimes it was just wonky, because I had to keep on resetting my game, like resetting the checkpoint, restarting the game, because characters would get stuck in walls, so there was a lot of bugs. And that's why I mentioned that I used a previously owned game, because it could be just that that game itself had issues, but I looked at the disc, it's not scratched, there's nothing wrong with it, but I was constantly having to restart because, like, things were not going. Like, I was doing what it implied that I should do, but the story wouldn't move on after I did it. And so then I have to start the game over and redo the challenge or the obstacle again. And then you would see, oh yeah, this is what's supposed to happen. The conversation finally have started. And there was times when, like, people would get stuck in walls and you need them to help you, but they won't get out of the wall. So then you're having to restart again, and your checkpoint, of course, is not where you were. It was like 5 minutes ago, and so you have to go through the whole thing again and just hope they don't get stuck in the wall again. I got stuck in walls constantly. Like, it would be places where you think, well, I could possibly fit in there. I wonder if there's anything beside it, and then you would go, and your character could fit into it, but then you couldn't get out. And it was because you basically bugged out the game. It was like a glitch getting there or something. So, those were annoying. And there was times when I was frustrated because, like I said, you go through like a challenging part and then all of a sudden your game's bugged and it won't move on. And there's also the option of you think that you're doing it right, but you're not sure. And you don't even know if it's you that's the problem or the game's bugging again, so you restart it and maybe you're lucky. It was mostly my complaint was that, is that it was frustrating when things weren't working the way they were supposed to be. But that being said, I did like the puzzles, like I said earlier. I did enjoy the storyline a bit. There was times when I was like, oh, come on. But I guess I have to embrace the idea that they are kids. So that's something I had to keep reminding myself. Like, I don't know how old Amicia is. I'm guessing 15. I don't know. And her brother Hugo is like 6. I don't know. They never really say their ages that I remember. And I had to keep reminding myself they're kids. So of course they're going to be a little whiny. Of course they're going to argue against each other. Of course the little boy's going to be loud when he shouldn't be loud. And it's frustrating. And he's running away from you. He's mad. But then he's upset because he gets captured. And then it's your problem. And some of the emotions were odd because towards the end of the game, the brother runs away to go find his mom because he finds out she's still alive. And we go after him as Amicia, but we didn't at the same time because it felt like a dream sequence because she ended up passing out and like there was people she was running into that are dead and she's talking to them. So I thought she like passed out and she was just imagining all this, and then like we play Hugo for a while, and then you find like it's been a month that he's been gone, and they haven't even tried to look for him. It's suggested they haven't even tried to look for him, because they're like, well, he's probably with the Inquisition, and life moves on. That's how this kind of felt, so it was a little weird. And they did bring this like scene where he was supposedly brainwashed by the bad guy, and controlling the rats, so he takes the rats to where the sister and her friends are hiding. And then they have to, like, the brother and sister have to be friends again to get the brainwashing stopped. It was just plot convenience that he was automatically able to remember who they were. I wasn't big on that. The friends that we had weren't very useful. There was times, like, there's one girl that she's able to pick locks. Okay, great. I don't think we had to have that. But she helped us get out of situations. It moved the story along, so whatever. And then we had this guy that was an apprentice to an alchemist. He gave us a couple of new things to do, and he made like the serum or the medicine for him to take so he'd start getting better. But it was weird because the main alchemist and the mother together could not finish the product. It had to be, this little boy did it. But towards the end of the game, they're literally useless. They just stand there. And then they're like, oh, don't worry about me, I got this. And they just stand there. And it's like, come on. And I'm dying. Like, I keep dying. And they're just standing there like, don't just stand there, Amicia, do something. Like, you mean like you? So, I like the music. The music was good. It says France, but I swear we were in, like, Scotland or something. Because they have, like, they don't have really a French accent to me. It was sounding more Irish-Scottish to me. So, I was actually surprised when it said France. I'm sure they told me in the previews it was France, but I just didn't pay attention. Or I don't remember, because it took me a while to play this game. It's rather short, even though it took me a while, because I'm just playing on my free time. It's 17 chapters long. Each chapter is about 20 minutes to a half hour, depending. The story kind of ended abruptly, too. So it's like we beat the bad guy, and then it's basically the end. they show the credits, and then there's more to the game after that. So make sure if you do play this game and you beat the bad guy and you get to the credits, you can either watch them or you fast forward, and then there is another, like, there's like an epilogue at the end, which is only like a month later. No, it was like 3 days later. Sorry. It was like 3 days after they beat the bad guy. And so that's not really an epilogue, but it just shows them leaving, trying to find a new place to live. It was okay. It's not something, like I said, I don't plan on playing it again. If I do, for a long time. It's one of those things, you've done it, now it's over. So that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about it, so that you didn't have to play it. If you didn't want to, you know the basics of it. There is plenty of people on YouTube that have done walkthroughs for it. So if you want to watch it but you don't want to pay for it, that's the way to go. I paid $19.99 on Macari for it. On Amazon and on PlayStation, it's like $25 to $30, depending especially if it's brand new. So I would, if you're going to play it, I would either be able to rent it if you have the ability to rent it. If you have to buy it, I would get it off of like a used Amazon or Macari or eBay. That's how I would go with it. It's not, to me, it's not worth like $30, especially since it's an older game now. When it first came out, I wanted to play it, and it took me forever to find it, and then I honestly forgot about it, and then I finally decided, oh, I want to play that game again, because somebody mentioned on one of my Last of Us groups that that's the game that got them into The Last of Us. So I found it, and I went to play it, but I definitely would not say it's worth $30. My next game that I'm going to be playing is Little Nightmares 2. I'm nervous about it because I have trouble seeing in that environment. I do know what happens in Little Nightmares 2. I've watched the entire game be played on YouTube, so there's not really any surprises for me, so especially that way I know what's kind of expected and what to do, because I get frustrated with those games. So like this game is I think gonna be like Limbo, and I struggled with Limbo, so I think that's what it's gonna be like for me, because sometimes it's just not, I struggle with it being, I can't see things well, and I get frustrated when I can't see well, and especially things are dark, and I know you can change the settings, I'm just nervous about it, and I just don't want to get frustrated, because it's a good game, I even know what happens, so I know it's a good game, it's just I have to be able to get through the controls, and hopefully they're not too wonky, and the way I get to play games is they're not very consistent. I don't get to just play every single day. So for me, I'll get used to the controls. Like for this, for Amicia using the sling, I would get used to using the sling, and I wouldn't play for a few days, and then playing again, and I have to reteach myself the controls. So I'm a little nervous. I'm prepared to be frustrated. So I might try it. If I don't like it, I tried. I want to play Little Nightmares, the first one. But that is expensive as well, trying to get a hold of it, and for me being a very bad player, I don't think that I'll survive through it, so, I don't know if I want to do it, and get frustrated. The only reason I have Little Nightmares 2 is because my GameStop in my area was going out of business, so it was considerably cheap, so that's the only reason I have that game. So I'm gonna try that. I'll let you know what I think about it. An episode that or a video I'm going to be doing soon is about The Last of Us. I'm still working on that, thinking about it. So I'll let you know, obviously, with the video upload once I figure things out. But I hope you guys are having a great day. Enjoy the weather. It's beautiful outside. Have a good night, guys. Bye!